So I thought it'd be useful to show you the MagicArt software, which you can download for the machine. It's free. Um, so yeah, I find the software really quite intuitive to use. Yeah, I find that I can import most things in that I want to import, whether it be images, SVGs. If you look to the top left-hand corner, you've got an SVG button there. Whether you design your own in something like Illustrator or whether you buy pre-done SVGs online, you can import those and create those to toolpaths to engrave. Images, you've got quite a lot of options for supported. So you've got .bmp, .jpeg, .gif, .png. You can see those all listed there, the types of images you can bring in. You can design shapes and things in the software. So you've got a circle eclipse here. When you use any of these buttons here, it tells you what it is, a circle, arc, etc. Start angle, end angle, position, you've got it. You can move the position there. You can move the size, either keeping the ratio or distorting the shape, the line thickness, whether you want to fill it, etc. So those options are there, and also you've got things like text, standard text option. If you've got a fair range of text there. If you download any fonts in the correct format onto your PC, then the next time you open the MagicArt software, that will be there for you to use. So that's great. There's lots of other things you can use in the software, but I'll just start with a couple of the basics. So what I'm going to do in the video on the machine is I'm going to engrave a slightly domed piece of metal because it's easy to show you flat pieces, but I'm going to do a dome piece and a ring, so you can see how you do that. I've already designed my piece here, so for this I'll just show you how I brought in the circle in the back there. So I know what size my domed disc is, so you can see when you open a new file, you've got templates and design samples here. I just double clicked on the circle template, and then you can put in what size you want it to be. Equally, just as a template, you could use this here and just draw as I just showed you previously. But we'll just close that one, so we don't need to do that. Yeah, so I used the template on this occasion. It just gives you a background to the size you're working to, which is very handy. For the fingerprint engraving in the centre here, now you can buy the fingerprint scanner from Magic. If you do, that offers you different ways to cut the fingerprint image, to crop it. So that's handy, but I've just used an image that I've created myself and cut and brought that in. This text around the top of the disc, at the top of the ribbon here, you've got an option for circular text, so I used that, create that at the top. This text at the bottom, I just used a font in the list, and I just put a couple of kisses there. I've done these all separately because I just want to do different toolpaths for each one to give you an example of how that works. So for the circular text here, I'm going to use a hatching toolpath. So at the top of the screen here, hatching toolpath. This is obviously all diamond drag engraving on the Magic 5S. And I am going to use normal diamond tip hatching. It offers you which direction you want to go, so I'm going to leave it as horizontal. The Z clearance is the lift you want the tool to do when it's moving around a piece to different parts of the engraving. Because I'm using a dome shape, I want it to clear the whole dome, so I'm going to set that quite high. I'm going to put that on high, and the depth is not exactly depth, it's pressure. So I know what I want to use on this particular material. And the hatch lines, you can put in what gap you want them to be at. And I'm also going to engrave the outline. So it's going to engrave the outline of each letter and then hatch lines in between as well. So I'm going to create that toolpath. And that's ready to go to the machine whenever we want to. With the heart, I could either hatch all the dark areas, or I could inverse the image actually, so it was more white than black. But what I'm going to do an outline engraving, so it shows where all these white lines of the fingerprint and little marks on the skin are. So I'm going to use an outline engraving for that, outline toolpath, sorry. So it's diamond tip outline. I am still going to use the same clearance because it's still on the same dome, and I know what pressure I want to put on. Actually, it's just domed copper, an old piece of domed copper that I'm using just for this demonstration, and that'll create a tool path to take that to the machine. My machine's running a little bit slow at the moment, so if I take off the original image and just show you the tool path, you can see exactly what that is going to engrave. Okay, this text I'm going to do again with an outline of the letters, I think. It might not show that clearly because it really is quite small, so I could do it in a single line text, but I'm going to do it in an outline. Set that to high. And then the little kisses at the bottom, I think I'll just do them, just show you a single line toolpath. So it will guess just the middle of each letter. Well, not guess, but it'll give a rough estimate. So the little kisses on the bottom. Okay. So when I take this to the machine, I won't engrave it at the moment, but I'll just show you. So I just highlight which part I want to take across. Down the left it shows me what it's going to engrave, and I've pressed the button of the actual engraver that I'm going to use. Now if you're using a flat item, if you're engraving on a flat item, then you click the flat option. This is classed as uneven, and it's going up, the dome is going up. So I know the height of my dome is just over 3 millimeters, but you're actually doing the depth of the area that you're actually engraving for that heart. So I'm going to estimate that about 2 millimeters, and that should work fine. You've got the option for multiple engravings if you want to set that up. I've never done that. Simulate engraving if you just want to check it's all in the right position. But I'm going to press the start engraving because I've got the adjust engraving position selected, that option. So when it gets to the machine, I can just check that it's going to all be in the right position on my object when I start engraving. So that is sending that to machine, but I'll cancel that in a minute because I want to show you some other things first. I've just cancelled that on the machine. Okay, so we've got the disc, the dome disc, ready to go. So just want to show you now how to simply engrave a ring. So I'm going to create a new file. On the templates, I'm going to double click the ring. I'm going to start with engraving the ring on the outside. So I've already measured my ring with my vernier gauge. The outside diameter of the ring is 22 millimeters, which is what I want to do the outside, and the width 7.36. I've already typed that in there, but you can change that to what you need. When you click on that, it gives you the exact surface area that you have to engrave on the outside of that ring, or the exact measurements that you've input. So that's that. So I just wanted to show you, if you don't want to bring in your own SVGs, your own designs, then it's quite simple to get quite a lot out of the machine anyway. Below the templates are inbuilt design samples. So if we look here, if we choose a ribbon to just engrave on here, which one shall we choose? Let's pop this one on. So I double click that. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. So if I go to position and size, I'm going to keep the ratio. I don't want to distort that. So I'm going to make that about 40. I'm just going to center that in the page. What else shall we pop on? Let's pop on heart. Okay, I'm going to drop that about there. Make it a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to, I could either double click another one or copy and paste it, and I'm going to paste it, copy and paste it. And then if we just put some, do we need to put some text on? No, we did some ordinary text in the dome disc, so we'll leave it at that. I'll create some toolpaths for those. So I think I will do an outline toolpath of this ribbon scroll here. And the hearts will do a hatch and outline. I'll do those both together. And we will do it that way up. Okay, so the toolpaths are ready for that now as well. And I will send these to the machine and then I'll show you engraving. Did you want me to? I could do a quick inside one as well, actually, just so you can see that engraving the inside. Okay, so the inside of the ring is 19.9 and the width of the ring is the same. So let's just pop some text on here. Okay, so I'm quite happy. I might make it a little bit bigger. That will do. And then I will just, obviously I can use any font that I would like that is there. And I'm just going to pull that along a bit, spread that around the ring, see if that fits. Yeah, that should work well. I'm going to hatch this. Okay, and I'll just show you when you do send cylindrical items, so rings, to the machine, just double check. I'll show you the different mandrels, but double check that you have the correct mandrel selected and whether it's inside or outside. It does flash up that you need to select those, but just a pointer to make sure you do that. I won't send it to the machine now, but I'll engrave those and show you the results shortly. So this is the Magic 5S engraving machine. As you can see, it has a clamp here, and this is for both flat and curved items. So if I just show you quickly, excuse me, just if I appeared in the frame there. I'm not sure how well you can see, but there are different steps in the clamp for different size pieces, going right down to a really quite small clamp, which I find useful for things like if you're engraving an earring. So I'm just going to pop that back in. I've got that ready to engrave in a minute. That's just a domed piece of copper, because I wanted to show you that you can do slightly domed pieces in here. I'm not doing a very good job at putting them back in. There we go, and that's nice and tightly secured. And then over this side we have the rotary clamp. At the moment I just have a ring set up to do outside ring engraving. The rings just fit on the small mandrels. I've got them on a flat mandrel at the moment because it's a band ring, and then you've got a couple of other different sets of small mandrels which are for smaller and wire rings. If you're engraving on the outside, you set the ring up on the outside of these mandrels, and if you're engraving on the inside, you set it up on the inside, and you tighten it up with these before you start engraving. Here you have your on-off switches, voice control, and these little buttons which show you once you've sent a toolpath to the engraver to engrave, you can make sure the position is correct with these. A few other bits up there which I don't need to go into now. And then this at the top, this controls the pressure on the L tool which holds the engraving tip. I have it really quite loose if I'm doing a curved item, because it doesn't put quite so much pressure on the metal and it allows for that little curve. And I tighten it up if I'm doing something flat, or perhaps the outside and inside of a ring, but definitely quite tight if I'm doing flat. So that's about it, all really I can show you now until I send something to the machine. So I will just make sure this is in the right position, both on the right step in the clamp. I'll just tell you as well, if you do things on top of the clamp on the flatter piece, you can get little pins to hold the item on the top. So if you're doing a watch back or something and you didn't want it sitting down into the stepped areas here, then you can just close this up a bit tighter and pin it. So yeah, there's those as well. And what I would do, I will send a toolpath to the machine now. So we'll start with the domed piece here. And I'll start with the text at the bottom. I've already told the machine that I'm working on a curve. I'm going to send it to the machine now. I'm not sure if you can see, but there is a little red laser pointer beam here, and that's showing me at the minute where the centre of this particular toolpath that I'm engraving at the moment. It's just the words "with love" that I'm engraving at the bottom, and I'm just going to check using these that, there we go, faulty finger, that it's going to fit all in the right place, and it is. So I am going to start that off, make sure that's tight, You probably won't be able to see it very well because I always do use a bit of lubrication when I'm engraving. Not sure if it's necessary or not, but I do, because if there are any dust, I don't really want it getting in the air. If I'm engraving a lot where there's a lot of chips, I'll also wear a mask. And that's done. I doubt whether you'll be able to see that, so I will photograph it or show you at the end. I will do the rest of the engraving on that shortly, but I will just get rid of that vise for the moment. And I'm going to work on the outside of the ring. So I'm going to press ring outside. And it's gone across to there. And I'm just going to send the toolpath for that. And I'm double checking that I'm sending it for the outside of the ring. There we go. And again, you've got the central dot, which is this should be the centre of the ring. If you want to change that, you can move it slightly. But I am going to leave it more or less where it is, excuse me. Just going to, because I have taken it off centre a little bit, so if it's not in centre, it's because I can't look quite close enough while I'm doing the video as well. So we'll start that off. There, and that's the ribbon done. You won't be able to see that, but I'm also going to do the hearts. And again, that's showing me where it's going to be the centre of the engraving and each side. I'm going to leave it the same now because that will match with the ribbon whether they're centred or not, because I moved it last time. So let's just start that off. Now you calibrate, you probably need to calibrate the machine when you get it if it's been transported, but it does give you all the instructions to do that in the manual, which is great, and that ensures that it always goes to the centre of what you're working on. Okay, so I'll finish the video now and then I'll pop the ring onto the inside of those mandrels, and then I'll just film it engraving the inside of the ring, and then hopefully at the end I'll either show you or take some photographs of everything that's done. So I don't know if you can see, I've popped the ring on the inside of the mandrels now. I've made sure that I put that to inside ring. Okay, and when I send it from my computer, I'm going to make sure I've selected inside and the correct type of mandrel. I've sent my toolpath to the machine, and now we're going to check again that it's central. And that will be fine, so we'll start that engraving off. There we go, and when that's finished I will attempt to show the results on here, and if not, by photograph.